Hi, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome back to the Jeshua channelings by Pamela Kribbe. And if you're following along in the book, I am on page 35. The chapter is Lightworker 1. The Lightworker's identity. Lightworkers are souls who carry the strong inner desire to spread light, knowledge, freedom, and self-love on earth. They sense this as their mission. They are often attracted to spirituality and to therapeutic work of some kind. Because of their deeply felt mission, lightworkers often feel different from other people. By experiencing different kinds of obstacles on their way, life provokes them to find their own unique path. I mean, and that could be why I feel that way about us each being unique, but feeling that we are all one and yet very separate only by our physical vessels and the experiences we've had in them, um, which lends to the word of unique path, right? Lightworkers are nearly always solitary individuals not fitting into fixed societal structures. A note on the notion of lightworker. The word, quote, light worker may evoke misunderstanding since it lifts out a particular group of souls from the rest. It may be taken to suggest that this particular group is somehow superior to the others, i.e., those, quote, not working for the light. This whole line of thought is at odds with the very nature and intent of light work. Let us state briefly what is wrong with it. First, claims of superiority are generally unenlightened. They block your growth toward a free and loving consciousness. Second, light workers are not, quote, better or higher than anyone else. They simply have a different history than the ones not belonging to this group. Because of this particular history, which we will discuss below, they have certain psychological characteristics which distinguish them as a group. Third, every soul becomes a light worker at some stage of its unfolding. So the label, quote, light worker is not reserved to a limited number of souls. The reason we use the word, quote, light worker, despite possible misunderstandings, is because it carries associations and stirs memories within you that help you remember. There is a practical convenience to it as well, since the term is frequently used in your current spiritual literature. Historical roots of light workers. Light workers carry within them the ability to attain spiritual awakening faster than other people. They carry inner seeds for a rapid spiritual awakening. With regard to this, they seem to be on a faster track than most people, if they choose it. This again is not because light workers are in any way, quote, better or higher souls. They are, however, older than most souls presently incarnate on earth. This older age should preferably be understood in terms of experience rather than time. Lightworkers have reached a particular stage of enlightenment before they incarnate on earth and start their mission. They consciously choose to become entrenched in the, quote, karmic wheel of life and to experience all forms of confusion and delusion that go with it. They do this in order to fully understand the earth experience. This will enable them to fulfill their mission. Only by going through all the stages of ignorance and illusion themselves will they eventually own the tools to help others achieve a state of true happiness and enlightenment. And I feel like that's a true statement. Having just recently started moving through all of this myself and starting it out by saying, hey, why don't you just tell me what you got going on over there and I'll mimic it and we'll get on with it. And that's not how that works. Why do light workers pursue this heartfelt mission to help humanity, thereby running the risk of losing themselves for ages in the heaviness and confusion of earth life? This is a question we will deal with extensively below. For now, we will say that it has to do with a galactic type of karma. Lightworkers stood on the eve of humanity's birth on Earth. They took part in the creation of man. They were co-creators of humanity. In the process of creation, they made choices and acted in ways which they came to regret deeply afterwards. They are here now to make up for their decisions back then. And if you are a follower of mine and you remember back to the Conscious Conversation Central days, before I ever had this book in my possession, I have always known that on some level, I was responsible for at least a portion of what we got going on here. On some level of me, I had participated. And well, we all, in my view, continue to participate in it even now, right? Before we go into this particular history, we will name a few characteristics of lightworker souls which generally distinguish them from other people. These psychological traits do not uniquely belong to light workers, and not all light workers will recognize all of them as theirs. By drawing up this list, we simply want to give an outline of the light worker's psychological identity. With regard to the characteristics, outer behavior is of less importance than inner motivation or felt intent. What you feel inside is more important than what you show outside. And for me, because there's a lot of I see there's a segment of light worker that is more focused on the outside than the inside and what's going on in here and getting to the bottom of this trauma. And there's more focus on helping your trauma and your trauma and your trauma, all the while ignoring this trauma, which is not uh, in the best interest. And this really, for me, solidified that. The psychological characteristics of light workers from early on in their life, they feel they feel they are different. More often than not, they feel isolated from others, lonely, and misunderstood. They will often become individualists who will have to find their own unique ways in life. And I think that's because that's what we're now waking up to, the fact that it is. That's the entire point of it. Is the unique portion. It's the whole entire point of it. They have trouble feeling at home within traditional jobs and or organization structures. Light workers are naturally anti-authoritarian, which means that they naturally resist decisions or values based solely on power or hierarchy. This anti-authoritarian trait is present even if they seem timid and shy. It is connected to the very essence of their mission here on Earth. Lightworkers feel drawn to helping people as a therapist or as a teacher. They may be psychologists, healers, teachers, nurses, etc., even if their profession is not about helping people in a direct manner. The intent to contribute to the higher good of humanity is clearly present. Their vision of life is colored by a spiritual sense of how all things are related together. They consciously or subconsciously carry memories within them of non-earthly spheres of light. They may occasionally feel homesick for these spheres and feel like a stranger on Earth. They deeply honor and respect life, which often manifests as a fondness for animals and a concern for the environment. The destruction of parts of the animal and vegetable kingdoms on Earth by human doing invokes deep feelings of loss and grief in them. They are kind-hearted, sensitive, and empathic. They may have trouble dealing with aggressive behavior, and they generally experience difficulties in standing up for themselves. They can be dreamy, naive, or highly idealistic, as well as insufficiently grounded, i.e., down to earth. Because they easily pick up negative feelings and moods of people around them, it is important for them to spend time alone on a regular basis. This enables them to distinguish between their own feelings and those of others. They need solitary time to touch base with themselves and with Mother Earth. They have lived many lives on Earth in which they were deeply involved with spirituality and or religion. They were present in overwhelming numbers in the old religious orders of your past, as monks, nuns, hermits, psychics, witches, shaman, priests, priestesses, etc. They were the ones providing a bridge between the visible and the invisible, between the daily context of earth life and the mysterious realms of the afterlife, realms of God and the spirits of good and evil. For fulfilling this role, they were often rejected and persecuted. Many of you were sentenced to the stake for the gifts you possessed. The traumas of persecution left deep traces within your soul's memory. This may presently manifest as a fear of being fully grounded, a fear to be really present. And I want to stop there and share with you that it was at this point when I read this for the first time that I realized that explained at least a portion of the fact that I had always, I now know that I've hovered around this area of this physical vessel. The full measure of the divinity of what I am and who I am hasn't fully entered the vessel. The vessel hasn't been in the shape, that's what it is, in the shape to physically receive all of that amplified frequency. And so there is a bit of a fear of it, of that full measure of being present, really present. There's nothing like it. I've had moments of it, and it's the clarity is the I don't know, I can't explain it. because I'm going to have to back that up. This may presently manifest as a fear of being fully grounded. For example, a fear to be really present because you remember being brutally attacked for who you were. And many have experienced that in this lifetime as well, really. And a lot of people experiencing it right now, right? Getting lost, the light worker's pitfall. Light workers can be caught up in the same states of ignorance and illusion as anyone else. Although they start from a different point of departure, their capacity to break through fear and illusion in order to attain enlightenment may be blocked by many factors. And in parentheses here, we have by enlightenment, we mean the state of being in which you realize that you are essentially of the light, capable of choosing light at any time. One of the factors blocking the road to enlightenment for light workers is the fact that they carry a heavy karmic burden, which may lead them astray for quite some time. As we stated before, this karmic burden is related to decisions they once made with regard to humanity in its infant stages. These decisions were essentially disrespectful of life. We will speak on this later in this chapter. All light workers now living wish to set right some of their past mistakes and to restore and cherish what was destroyed because of those mistakes. Now, I don't know too many light workers that know this about themselves or would even be willing to explore whether or not that's a true statement. Because that doesn't sound very light, does it? When light workers have made their way through the karmic burden, which means to release the need for power in any way, they will realize, and including the name of light worker and that you're here to fight the dark, right? I mean, that's for me, that's a very clear one. Uh, when light workers have made their way through the karmic burden, which means to release the need for power in any way, they will realize that they are essentially beings of light. This will enable them to help others in finding their own true selves. But first, they have to go through that process themselves. This generally demands great determination and perseverance on the inner level because society feeds them values and judgments which often go against their own natural impulses. Many light workers have gotten lost, ending up in states of self doubt, self denial, and even depression and hopelessness. This is because they cannot fit into the established order of things, and they conclude there must be something terribly wrong with them. Which is why, for me, being open to seeing that our programming and conditioning is what that is. The programming and conditioning of the personality that has developed over the time that this divinity has been in this physical vessel is what stood in my way, still stands in my way uh, uh, along my journey of coming to the full reality of the who and what I am and what I'm actually capable of. It's the belief systems that keep me in that box, and I am at least aware of that. And practicing hunting down that programming. Uh, at some point in time, you who are reading this will have to take the momentous leap to true empowerment which means to really believe in yourself and to truly honor and act upon your natural inclinations and your inner knowing. That's what I really do feel like that is so clearly up on planet Earth right now. The underlying energetic is sovereignty. Who do you trust? Is it you or somebody outside of you? And that's the bottom line. We invite you to do so, and we assure you that we will be with you every step of the way, just like you will be there for others on their way in the not too distant future. That's the end of Lightworker 1, and I will be releasing these on at least one of the channels, and I'll be right back with what Lightworker 2. Mwah. Be well, my friends.